Might be the only way we get attention. I have the hammer. Might be the only way. It works. Of course, now that I have your attention, we're not ready. So ladies and gentlemen, my name is Matthew Trenham. I'm the city clerk at the city of Thorold. We will be getting started in just a moment with the procession of our council. If there are last few people just coming in, we'll ask you to take your seats, and again, we'll get going in just a moment.
serve them for the next 4 years, and wherefore, in accordance with the Ontario Municipal Elections Act, such eligible citizens of Thorold who would do so have once again exercised that right, and wherefore this October past, the citizens of Thorold have spoken. Therefore, bear witness on this 22nd day of November in the year 2022, as these newly elected servants of the people of Thorold take the oath of office, acknowledging the duties of that office. May knowledge, wisdom, and justice guide their decisions, and God save the King.
Thank you. You can take your seats. So I would like to call to order this inaugural meeting of the 2022-2026 term of Thorold City Council. I'd like to take a moment to welcome the members of City Council, their friends and families, local business people, and city staff who are in attendance tonight. Alongside retiring councillors who will be recognized this evening, I'd also like to welcome Regional Councillor Tim Whalen, from the Niagara Regional Police Service, Police Chief McCullough and Sergeant LaPlante, and thank you for attending. Additionally, I'd like to recognize 4 former mayors of the City of Thorold in attendance tonight. We have Malcolm Woodhouse, Ted Luciani, Henry D'Angela, and we have Paul Longo, son of former Mayor William Longo as well. Welcome, everyone. Although I did just ask you to have a seat, I will now ask you to please stand for the singing of O Canada. And I'll call upon Nicolette Salire, musician, Brock University, for the singing of O Canada.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
And I'll now call on Fred Neal, former City Councillor, to read the land acknowledgement.
Thank you very much. It's an honor that the City of Thorold is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Hathiwandarunk, the Haudenosaunee, and Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The City of Thorold stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live.
And now you can be seated. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to confirm that following the certification of the 2022 municipal and school board election results, I can verify the election of 9 representatives to City Council. There is a quorum of members present tonight, and it is therefore now in order to proceed with the meeting. At this time, I can now declare that Thorold City Council is organized and the 2022-2026 term of council may begin. Now, before we do conduct any business tonight, I'd like to take a moment to recognize 2 members of City Council who retired after this previous term. Starting with former Councillor Fred Neal, who served on City Council for 28 years. Fred is here tonight with us, and on behalf of City Council and City staff, I'd like to thank him for his dedicated service to the City of Thorold and call him up to be recognized. Now, former Councillor John Kenny has also retired after the past term of council. Although he was not able to join us for tonight's meeting, on behalf of City Council and City staff, I'd like to thank him for his service. And lastly, I'd like to recognize former Councillor Victoria Wilson for her service last term, along with all the candidates who added their names to the ballot this fall. Putting your name forward for public service with a desire and willingness to represent your community is a laudable act. So please join me in thanking them all. Before conducting the oath of office, I'd like to call on Jacqueline Ugolini to read a poem by Michael Josephson titled, "What Will Matter?"
What will matter? Ready or not, someday it will all come to an end. There will be no more sunrises, no minutes, hours, or days. All things you collected, whether treasured or forgotten, will pass to someone else. Your wealth, fame, and temporal power will shrivel to irrelevance. It will not matter what you owned or what you were owed. Your grudges, resentments, frustrations, and jealousies will finally disappear. So too, your hopes, ambitions, plans, and to-do lists will expire. The wins and the losses that once seemed so important will fade away. It won't matter where you came from or what side of the tracks you lived on at the end. It will not matter whether you were beautiful or brilliant. Even your gender and skin color will be irrelevant. So what will matter? How will the value of your days be measured? What will matter is not what you bought, but what you built. Not what you got, but what you gave. What will matter is not your success, but your significance. What will matter is not what you learned, but what you taught. What will matter is every act of integrity, compassion, courage, or sacrifice that enriched, empowered, or encouraged others to emulate your example. What will matter is not your competence, but your character. What will matter is not how many people you knew, but how many people will feel a lasting loss when you're gone. What will matter is not your memories, but the memories that will live on in those that loved you. What will matter is how long you will be remembered, by whom and for what. Living a life that matters does not happen by accident. It is not a circumstance, but of choice. Choose to live a life that matters. Thank you.
So I will now conduct the oath of office for our incoming council. I will lead you through the declaration, and then after which call you up one by one to sign and affirm. Members of council, please stand and then repeat after me. I, and please say your name.
I, Ellen Ricker,
Having been elected to the office of City Council in the municipality of the City of Thorold do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or any improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty, King Charles III. Thank you. You may be seated, and I'll call on Councillor D'Angela first. Councillor, do you make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously believing it to be true, knowing it is the same force and effect as if made under oath?
Yes, I do. Yep, that's it.
Councillor G. DeVitas. Do you make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously believing it to be true, knowing it is the same force and effect as if made under oath?
Yes, I do.
Sign.
Thank you.
Councillor Decker. Do you make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously believing it to be true, knowing it is the same force and effect as if made under oath?
Yes, I do.
Councillor DeRose. Do you make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously believing it to be true, knowing it is the same force and effect as if made under oath?
Yes, I do.
Sign.
Thank you. Thanks.
Councillor Hanley. Do you make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously believing it to be true, knowing it is the same force and effect as if made under oath?
Yes, sir.
Would you sign? Thank you. Councillor Longo. Do you make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously believing it to be true, knowing it is the same force and effect as if made under oath?
Yes, I do.
Councillor O'Hare? Do you make the solemn promise and declaration conscientiously believing it to be true, knowing it is the same force and effect as if made under oath?
Yes, I do.
Now, Councillor Sentence was unable to be here tonight. I wish to advise that he did complete the oath of office on November 15th, the first date in which he could, in front of a witness, myself and the CAO. I'll now call on Mayor Ugolini. Do you make a solemn promise and declaration conscientiously believing it to be true, knowing it is the same force and effect as if made under oath?
I do.
And I will now call upon the mayor to deliver his inaugural address.
Bear with me, I need some water. Good evening, everyone. Members of council, city staff, family, friends, fellow citizens, and distinguished guests. It is an honor and privilege to speak to you this evening. Congratulations to our newly elected council. I look forward to working together with you over the next 4 years. A special thanks to our city clerk, Matthew Trenum, and his departmental staff, as well as Tessa Bonacore and Carrie Gruel for their outstanding work in organizing this evening's inaugural meeting of council. Let's have a hand for them. We owe the greatest appreciation to outgoing councillors. Councillor Fred Neal, 28 years of dedicated service. Thank you, Councillor Neal. I still call you Councillor Neal. Councillor Victoria Wilson and Councillor John Kenny. The past 4 years working together has been a pleasure and full of many achievements. I would be remiss if we did not take the opportunity to recognize and build on the hard work and inspired leadership of former mayors and councils who came before us. Former mayors in attendance this evening are Malcolm Woodhouse, Henry DeAngela, Ted Luciani, and representing the late William Longo, his son Paul Longo. I would also like to mention Dr. Don McMillan, who passed away in May at 97 years of age. A former mayor and mentor to me, as well as many of us here today. Dominic Mickey DeFruscio also passed away in February at the age of 95. Mickey was our representative on the Niagara Peninsula Conservation Authority for 25 years, and his wife Elizabeth is here with us this evening. More than one person has said that in Niagara, all roads lead through the city of Thorold. This reminds me of a story I heard while watching the late Anthony Bourdain's Food and Travel show on CNN. He was in Little Italy area, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, at an Italian club. They were playing bocce, eating sausage and peppers, drinking beer and wine. I know that sounds familiar if you live in Thorold. He asked an older gentleman who was around 100 years old why he came to America. He answered, "We were told to come to America. The roads are paved in gold." The catch, he said, was nobody told us when we got there we had to build the roads. That's not a problem in our city. Most roads are already built and we are building new ones. The city of Thorold is well positioned to lead Niagara out of the pandemic and any economic uncertainty that lies ahead. During the pandemic, City Council and staff focused on keeping our community safe and healthy while continuing to move the city forward. I believe we succeeded in doing that. Major infrastructure projects were completed, and by doing so, we saved the taxpayers significant cost increases due to the inflationary pressures and rising interest rates occurring in today's marketplace. Extremely important is that our residential growth, per capita, #1 in Niagara, #4 in Ontario, and #8 in Canada, is being matched with a surge in commercial industrial growth. Drive across the city and you will see structural steel being erected in many areas. A good example is McClary Drive off Collier Road. Some major infrastructure projects completed, ongoing, or approved and budgeted for are the Downtown Revitalization Project, the Battle of Beaver Dams Park, St. David's Road first phase completed and phase 2 budgeted for, Operations Center upgrade and expansion, Fire Station 1, and the Canada Games Park Legacy Facility. These are major infrastructure projects either completed or being completed during a pandemic. Unbelievable, but true. Truthfully, we are the hub of the Niagara region, and our economic development, business retention, and expansion strategy is starting to pay the expected dividends, like good-paying jobs and an expanded tax base. We are a city in transition, and that transition is gaining steam and being recognized across the region and beyond. Different, yes, but with similarities to our past. The Thorold Multimodal Hub is an excellent example of that. It is unique to Niagara and features marine, rail, and highway access, as well as indoor warehouse and outdoor storage space. It includes the former McClary property, now owned by Hopa Ports, as well as the former Resolute Forest Products property, now owned by BioValve Canada, who specialize in productive repurposing of brownfield and industrial sites. Both sites are managed by Hopa Ports, and this strategic partnership combines our past with a modern-day vision moving forward. As I said earlier, this is just one example. It's been said many times, to an optimist, the glass is always half full. To a pessimist, half empty. There is no room for pessimism and negativity, as they serve no productive purpose. We must strive to seek solutions that result in positive outcomes and move the city forward. Be visionary, take up any challenge that confronts us. Better have another drink. Why do I mention that? Other than being the eternal optimist, here is an excellent example of being optimistic and always believing that there are solutions to what seem as insurmountable challenges. The Niagara grape and wine industry. The naysayers said you cannot grow vinifera grape varieties in Niagara. Our climate is not conducive to this type of agriculture. Early pioneers like Inaugural Wines, Chateau de Charme, and Cave Spring Cellars felt differently, used native rootstock, and grafted vinifera vines to them, made large-scale investments, and soon others followed. The grape and wine industry today is flourishing and brings millions, and I mean millions, of dollars into Niagara economy through vineyards, wineries, tourism, and hospitality. The risk has and continues to produce outstanding rewards. We are looking to do the same thing along the Welland Canal Trade Corridor with the Niagara Ports Multimodal Plan, beginning in the city of Thorold. The Thorold Multimodal Hub was a topic of discussion at the Niagara Economic Summit and the Ontario Marine Strategy Roundtable. It is gaining traction and creating an industry buzz. As they say when boarding an amusement park ride, hang on to your hat, keep your arms and legs inside, and enjoy the ride. The future is bright, and things are going to get very interesting with more positive announcements to come as we move forward. During this term of council, there will be many important decisions and issues to be addressed, beginning with the implementation of our new official plan. With the tabling of Bill 23, More Homes Built Faster Act 2022, this becomes even more critical as more responsibilities get downloaded to local area municipalities. The official plan process will provide a public input component at various stages on this undertaking. Issues, concerns like climate change, biodiversity, and where intensification should be directed can be incorporated into the plan. Get involved so that your voice is not only heard, but an important part of the process. Providing recreational amenities and transit service expansion to service our growth areas, continuing to upgrade and improve municipal infrastructure, affordable housing and housing affordability across all age groups, as well as diversified housing options, especially for seniors who want to stay in Thorold, are front and center. These are just a few of the important issues that we will need to work on with all levels of government. Poverty, homelessness, addiction, and mental health will also require us working with a regional focus and funding help from upper levels of government. There are numerous opportunities to build on what has already been achieved or started. We have a significant opportunity after winning the Prince of Wales Prize for Municipal Heritage Leadership to take heritage preservation and related tourism to new levels. Continuing to build on our downtown revitalization, which has created a buzz not only in the city of Thorold, but across Niagara and beyond, utilizing our newly upgraded Battle of Beaver Dams Park by hosting more community events, as well as having a proper museum to display our rich history are just some of the opportunities that lie ahead. Partnerships and collaboration are essential today, and those who fail to realize that will be left behind. Moving forward, we must continue to develop and expand our partnership opportunities. Working with institutions like Brock University and Niagara College are good examples of that. The possibilities are endless. Lifelong learning is also of critical importance in this age of constant technological change, and having Brock University and Niagara College in our backyard becomes an even greater benefit that we can leverage. Here is a 4-year-old example of Brock University's economic impact on our city. Payroll for employees living in the city of Thorold for the 2017-2018 fiscal year was approximately $12.2 million, and this does not include student economic impact figures. Updated numbers will be much higher. Worth noting here is that the Foundry Lofts are currently adding 6 more purpose-built student housing units to their existing supply. The 2 cranes can be seen on Schmoen Parkway across from the exciting Norgem Biotech expansion. This development will add over 1,000 beds of student housing stock and hopefully take pressure off of some of our residential neighborhoods. To all developers, builders, businesses, both commercial and industrial, who are committed to our city, a great big thank you. You are too numerous to mention, and I do not want to miss anyone. We will work with all of you and ask in return that you become an active part of our great community. To our volunteer, church, and service groups, registered charities, and nonprofit organizations, without you, we would not be the city we are. Our community has always stepped up, and this became really evident during the COVID-19 pandemic. Today, I am asking everyone to be as generous as you can afford to be during the upcoming holiday season. The numbers using food banks like Community Care, St. Catharines, Thorold are up. Let's collectively do our part to make sure that the much-needed supplies will be there. I'm going dry here. On a regional level, Regional Councillor Whalen and I work closely together to move the Niagara region forward while dealing with issues and projects that affect the city of Thorold. Some of these include regional transit implementation beginning in January 2023, the Beaver Dam sewage pumping station upgrade, DQ water treatment plant upgrades, Niagara Regional Police Service, waste management and road safety issues and concerns, and the biggie, the South Niagara wastewater treatment plant, which when completed will take the capacity on the east side of the Welland Canal, Thorold South, Allenburg, and Port Robinson East, and divert it to the new plant. This is huge for the city of Thorold. The city of Thorold is a warm and welcoming community which supports diversity and inclusion. We joined the Coalition of Inclusive Municipalities in September 2020, a network that brings together municipalities that want to improve their policies against racism, discrimination, exclusion, and intolerance. And I believe we have all seen how sports and recreation, as well as the arts, culture, and heritage, form an integral part of a vibrant community. These assets bring us together and let others know who we are. The tremendous spirit and enthusiasm they generate help define us as a community. So let's work together, pull in the same direction, and make sure that we live up to the expectations laid down by those who came before us. Our location is second to none. Let's ensure that the city of Thorold is the best place to live, work, invest in, and raise a family. My closing story is the same one I shared 4 years ago, so those that were here 4 years ago, you've heard this story before, but I couldn't come up with a better one. When Jane and I were dating, I would pick her up at her parents' home located near Ridley College in West St. Catharines. I was unaware that her family on her father's side had roots and a long history in the city of Thorold. Her grandfather, Russell Wilcox, a chemist, worked his way up the corporate ladder and became manager of the Exelon Company in Thorold, which is now a residential development known as Artisan Ridge. He married Eileen Foley, who was the daughter of Edward Foley, a former mayor of Thorold. Jane boasts that her family has a longer history in Thorold than mine. My grandfather on my dad's side immigrated to Thorold after the First World War. My response to what Jane said is, I had to save you and bring you back to your roots. So now we're in Thorold, that's where she belonged, and her history in this story shows you that, right? I would like to thank Jane. We were 40 years married on October the 2nd. Jacqueline and her fiance Markian, and we're looking to a fall wedding next year in 2023. And Justin and his girlfriend Rachel, who just bought a house on Welland Avenue South in Thorold, for their unwavering support. You do not travel down this road alone. Once again, on behalf of our newly elected City Council and myself, thank you for coming out to this evening's inaugural meeting of Council. It's going to be an exciting 4 years ahead for the City of Thorold. It's our time. Let's move forward together. Thank you very much. Okay, so now we have a bylaw to pass. Bylaw 94, 2022, a bylaw to adopt, ratify, and confirm the actions of City Council at this inaugural meeting held on November 22nd, 2022. Can I have a mover and a seconder for this? Councillor DeAngela and seconder Councillor Decker. I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Prior to adjournment, there are just a few housekeeping items to advise everyone, and I'll call back our City Clerk, Matthew Trent.
So thank you, Mr. Mayor. Once the meeting is adjourned, council will be led out of the room into the foyer, and we're just going to ask everybody to please follow the procession out of the room one row at a time. Councilors and those in attendance will be available to take photos in the lobby and mingle while staff here just prepare the room for the reception. It should only take a few minutes to bring the room around, but after everyone is welcome, of course, to return to the room for the reception itself. Please note there are assigned tables which are available on the board just outside the room as well. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Matthew. There being no further business, this meeting is hereby adjourned at, that's quick, 7:13.